These are the 10 best tips to improve on keyboard and mouse for Fortnite Chapter 6 and Fortnite OG. Whether you're a beginner or someone who just can't get over the hump of winning tournaments, these tips will help you out. I've been playing keyboard and mouse for about 3 years now, and when I first started out, I wish I had some help. So in this video, I have broken down the 10 best tips that you need to get better on keyboard and mouse. From things like aim training, observing pro gameplay, and how to win tournaments. The first tip is keybinds. When people first start out on keyboard and mouse, this is one of the first things they mess up. They pick bad keybinds for themselves and do the classic of putting every weapon slot as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That was ideal in 2018 where Ninja was the best player in the world, but it is not 2018 anymore, and it is certainly not ideal now. People also try to copy pro players, but you have to understand that just because a pro is good with their keybinds and is winning a bunch of tournaments does not mean that you will be good with them, because they have been practicing with those keybinds day in and day out for years, and you have not. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to take some inspiration from pros keybinds while making your keybinds, but you need to pick keybinds that would be comfortable to use for yourself, and keybinds that fit your playstyle, and even your hand placement on your keyboard. So that could mean doing some trial and error by picking some keybinds that feel comfortable and testing them in creative maps. And then you can eventually change what's not comfortable until you get the perfect keybinds that you can succeed with. But if you're completely lost on your keybinds and you need a place to start, here's some keybinds to get you started. The second tip is having good sensitivity. Now, to go with good keybinds, you also need a good sensitivity, and your sensitivity is what's going to make or break your aim on keyboard and mouse. So starting out with DPI, for those of you that don't know, DPI is another sensitivity for your mouse and gives you better aim. So to lay out a blueprint for what your actual in-game sensitivity is going to be, start with your DPI and set it to either 400 or 800. I prefer 800, but do what's ever comfortable to you. And then fine-tune your in-game sensitivity to match your DPI. When combining the two sensitivities, don't make it too high, because then your aim will get thrown off completely, but you want to keep it somewhat high so you can make quick turns when needed. So when you're experimenting with different sensitivities, try like 5 or 4 different sensitivities and see what is the smoothest to you. And the goal is to have control over your shots without being too slow or twitchy. Now that leads me into my next tip. Tip number 3 is aim training. When you're new to keyboard and mouse and have a new sensitivity, there's a huge chance your aim's going to be absolute garbage. And aim training might be one of the most boring things to do, but when it comes down to it, that is what eliminates opponents and is the most important thing to practice. And some of the best pros in the game that win FNCSs just out aim all of their opponents to win their fights. So if you get your aim down and keep practicing, you will get to where you want to be on keyboard and mouse. Trust me. Aim training maps are going to be your best friend. All of these maps are designed to improve your tracking, flick shots, and reflexes. So use the creative maps to practice against moving targets and improve your accuracy. Even just 10 minutes a day of aim training will make a huge difference in your in-game performance. The fourth tip is free building. Free building and practicing all your binds is probably one of the most important things when starting out on keyboard and mouse, and you need to do this to get better. If you want to be good like some of your favorite pros and get earnings through tournaments, you have to spend time practicing in a creative map. If you just got your keybinds and you haven't done anything, most people go straight into pubs or ranked games and think they will get better, but that is just the exact opposite of what you need to be doing. Because if you think about it like this, what would help you more? Practicing dribbling a basketball outside for 3 hours or playing a full game? Obviously, dribbling is going to be more helpful. That's why practicing exists. Now, some edits you can do to get warmed up to your keybinds is the classic one tile edit, and once you're used to that, you can eventually do double edits and even triple edits. Another edit that you can do is a simple stair and wall edit drill, where you're simply flipping stairs and editing walls. And that is super useful so you can get better and more consistent with your builds. The fifth tip is edit courses. Edit courses are crucial when starting out on keyboard and mouse. Most people don't really talk about how important they are anymore for some reason. But when you're new to your keybinds or badly coordinated, learning and practicing using your edit binds is very important to limiting your mistakes in real games. If you're practicing so that you can place well in tournaments so you can eventually become a pro, or even if you just want to be flashy and look cool, then the placement of your crosshair when editing is the most important thing to focus on. And it also makes your edits so much quicker than before. And the quicker you are, the more edits you can get through to throw your opponents off guard. So keep your crosshair more in the middle when editing to limit the distance you have to move to get an edit off. And with creative being so advanced, there are so many maps that can help you, whether you're struggling with piece control or even getting through a set of edits. So I'll leave some of my favorite map codes down in the description, and comment and let me know if you like them. The 6th tip is having a good setup. When switching to keyboard and mouse, it is super important to have a good keyboard and mouse. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out there and purchase the best $500 keyboard and mouse on the market. No, not at all. That would be the most stupid thing ever. There are some amazing budget-free keyboard and mouses that you can get that are still really good to use. You just have to do your research on things like Amazon or just simply watching a YouTube video. And keyboard and mouse isn't the only thing that would be important to your setup and making you better. You also should find a monitor that supports 240 Hz or at least 144 Hz, because this takes away delay and overall keeps the game so much smoother. And to help other people out that may be struggling, comment what keyboard and mouse you use in the comments or what keyboard and mouse you're planning on getting, and I'll let you know if it's good or bad. The 7th tip is 1v1s. 1v1s are an amazing way to improve after you have done all of the steps of finding the right keybinds and sensitivity, and you've practiced your editing, building, and aim. Then you should be ready to go against a real opponent and start doing 1v1s. Now, there are many different types of 1v1s, and all of these 1v1s have different focus points of improving. Like piece control focuses on your ability to piece control and fight in closed areas, or realistics, which puts you in an in-game scenario with realistic loot and mats, and you have to fight with that. But the one I'll be focusing on for this specific video is the classic build battle 1v1s. These 1v1s have been around since day one and still are probably the best 1v1 choice, because you have unlimited mats and there is no worry of failing, because you can respawn in an instant and get right back to it. I recommend 1v1s because it is the quickest way to practice your fighting while still practicing your mechanics and aim. The 8th tip is watching pro players. Watching pro players is a massive, yes massive, way to get better and learn more techniques to add to your gameplay, because watching people that are so much better than you makes you start to realize some of the decisions they make and why they are doing it, which can lead to you finding out a new play to have advantage in a fight, and a play you might not have thought of before. Some players I recommend watching are Peterbot, Polarized, and even Aussie Antics, because he breaks down each play people make. The 9th tip is playing Scrims and Tournaments. Now that you have been improving with all of the other tips, you should be able to take it to the next level and start playing Scrims and Tournaments, because in Scrims you can test your skills and start learning some of the plays to make in competitive, so that when it comes time in big tournaments where you have to make big decisions, you won't be panicking wondering what your next move should be. And in Scrims, if you die from something and you realize what you could have done differently, that is the best, because learning from your mistakes creates something in your mind that will remind you not to make that same mistake again. The 10th tip is playing ranked games. Ranked is extremely important in the game of Fortnite, and is especially made so that players like you that are lost can improve, because unlike in public games where there is about 50 bots in each game you play, ranked has little to no bots in the game, especially when you start to get to those higher ranks like Elite, Champion, and Unreal. And the higher rank you get to, it will put you against the same players in that rank, which will ultimately mean you're going against the best of the best. And most people get scared and land somewhere nobody goes because they are scared of tanking their rank and looking bad. But that is the exact opposite of what you need to get better. Instead of landing somewhere nobody goes, you should hot drop and take every fight you can. Do this while still being smart, because that is what makes the pros so great. Now, the 11th and last tip is playing with confidence and being consistent. The saying confidence is key is actually true, because in things like 1v1s or even just the end game where you're low on mats or health, things can get intense. But if you let your nerves take over, you'll end up making mistakes. So stay focused, take deep breaths, and make smart plays rather than panicking. Even when you're under pressure, staying calm helps you make better decisions and execute your plan successfully. And the saying consistency is key is also true, because I can promise you, if you do all these things I mentioned in the video for a month, you will see a huge difference in your gameplay. Now, without being said, those are the 10 tips I have for you, and if you leave with something, let it be this: don't expect to be good overnight, because it takes time just like anything else. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to see more videos on how to improve, subscribe. And also, I've been streaming on Twitch a lot lately, so go follow me there. And without further ado, I love you guys, and Finerx out.
I can't trust no shot if she don't run up. Cut this Cartier like a stunner.